think I speak for pretty much all writers when I say that writing the blurb that goes on the back of the book cover is probably the worst part of all of this. I would far rather write another 136,000 word book than try to explain in this blurb what this 136,000 word book is about. So I have about 30 minutes to come up with a workable blurb. I will then get feedback on it from some other people. I am trying to force myself to sit down and really think about this though. So I am going to try to do it here. I have OpenOffice ready. I'm gonna pop into that window and I'm going to try to come up with a blurb. Now, this is for book 5 of my ongoing fantasy series, so if you are concerned about spoilers for things that may have happened in the previous 4 books, you may not want to listen to this. If you're not worried about that though, then by all means stick around and you can watch me struggle. I've been thinking about this blurb all day and I still have absolutely nothing of value to write down for it. So let's try to brainstorm straight into this and see if I can get something that sort of works. Okay, let's see. We got our OpenOffice document and it is time to write. Okay, the only thing that I came up with is I want one line, and I had already put it on the back of the cover when I was working on the cover. So that's my starting point. So we've got the blade bearer has fallen. And that is, I guess, my hook that will be bold at the top. And now I have to figure out everything else that happens in this book to try to figure out what I need to write down. So let's see, that's kind of establishing what happened in the last book. So I guess this book is dual POV. I've got Lark and I've got Zaid, so I need a paragraph, at least one paragraph for each of them. It's really more Zaid's book than it is Lark's, even though, you know, her stuff is important, but it's very much his part of the story. So we're going to need a paragraph about Lark. I can't type. And then a paragraph about Zaid. And then closing paragraph. And I don't know if that's going to be for Lark, for Zaid, or what. Okay, so where have we got Lark? Lark, the blade bearer has fallen. And, okay. And with him, so has the capital. So that's kind of reestablishing what happened at the end of the last book, because he got in there, he failed to kill the villain took the capital. So this is our backstory, and then we're gonna have kind of like the status quo, I guess. Just explaining where Lark is now and what she needs to do. So like right now, I need to tie that back to Zaid though, because I mentioned him as the first line. So the blade bearer has fallen, and with him so has the capital. Now, without, I guess the primary concern is going to be the sword, because they don't have the sword at full power, so they can't actually use it against the villain. So the power of the legendary blade. Without the power of the legendary blade or Zaid, because he's the one who uses it, or the hand meant to wield it. Lark, this is her paragraph. So what does she need to do? She has to get everybody out of the capital, and she needs to get her armies back together. So Lark is, I mean, you gotta have power words in there, and it's always written in present tense. I don't know why blurbs are always written in present tense, but it seems like they are. Lark is forced because that's a strong word, to take charge of crumbling kingdom. We also need to leave her. All right, and leave her captured friend behind. Okay, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. The blade bearer has fallen, and with him so has the capital. Now without the power of the legendary blade or the hand meant to wield it, Lark is forced to take charge of the crumbling kingdom and leave her captured friend behind. So that's establishing what Lark is doing and where Zaid is. And I also need to keep this under 200 words total. So 53 words, so I still have plenty of space here. This is hard. And I'm just going to edit this to remove all the times that I just repeat the same thing over and over again for video economy purposes. So we've got kind of the backstory, but now we need to move forward. So now that she is moving forward from this situation, what is her main goal? So her main goal here is going to be the sword, because she has to have the sword at full power to be able to defeat the enemy. And also everybody is like refugee and everybody is running right now, so she really needs to be like that uniting force. So I guess we'll say, I don't know if I'll put this in a new paragraph, I might clean that up later. With Emerald's armies scattered and her magic yet to awaken, which is kind of more chicken, but only hope is to earn the right to wield the spectrum blade and become the new blade bearer herself. Okay, so she's gonna need a challenge for that, and honestly her challenge is the lack of magic, but we're just gonna drop that there for now and I'll figure out how to work that in. Zaid is the captured one, so he is trapped at the enemy's mercy. Zaid is having a real bad time, is what I want to write, and honestly that's a pretty accurate assessment of like the whole book. Is book 5, Zaid has a real bad time. So we've got a couple things going on for him. He is fighting for his life, learning the enemy's language, and he is also learning some things about the family that he lost, because they are from the country that was last destroyed by the villain, so the villain has lots of information about his family. Learning about the family he lost. He is also trying to find a way to undermine what the villain is doing. So he's trying to fight the villain from the inside while in captivity. I usually type a lot better than this. I can't type and talk at the same time. And then he gets his challenge, which is an offer of power, and then the risk that comes with that power. That actually could be our closing paragraph, I think. If I put Zaid's challenge, like the risk that he faces, that could be the closing statement, because at this point he's walking this really fine line of being able to support his people or being pushed into a situation where his choices could harm them. So I kind of want to play into that, so we could say any misstep could prove fatal. And then we have to put back his challenge. So usually when I write these, I try to make sure that everything I talk about is stuff that happens in like the first half of the book. So it's kind of setting up expectations for where it's going to go. But then after that, you have no idea where it's going after that. So any misstep could prove fatal, and as power that feel like I could use a better word for that because I used power of the legendary blade. So I don't want to use that word too many times in this blurb. So he's hanging out in jail, imprisoned by Gudranus. And part of what got them into this whole mess was needing Gudranus' help in the last book. So we'll put a focus on that there with, because, you know, it's Paragon of Shadow. They need the Paragon of Shadow's help. Forces that tempt. That sounds a little melodramatic, but we'll work on it later. I said that earlier. The line he's walking this line, and I think that'll be a good place to end it. The line he walks grows thinner by the moment. So I think that'll be a good closing line after we have, you know, the challenge and the risk that he is facing. Okay, so this is a basic skeleton. With Amarok's army scattered and her magic yet to awaken, her only hope is to earn the right to wield the Spectrum Blade and become the new blade bearer herself. This is kind of her challenge right here. That her power is yet to awaken and her only hope is to earn the right to wield the sword because they have nobody to wield it. Maybe that's enough? How much is that if I put that there? Okay, so that's 67 words. I have a little bit more space I can devote to her. Okay, but her only hope is to earn the right to wield the Spectrum Blade and become the new blade bearer herself. I feel like that's a strong ending, but the point of it is so she can reunite her people. My husband is texting me pictures of dogs. He volunteers at the Humane Society on his lunch breaks. So he's got all these dogs that he hangs out with, and this derpy guy, his name is Togo. He really wanted to bring Togo home, but Togo is apparently a serial living room destroyer, and I don't have the money to buy new furniture for the living room every time a dog wrecks it. Okay, so she can reunite her people. I need a better way to describe this. So she can unite her people beneath her banner. Okay, we'll come back to that. I think that's a good summary of what she needs to do. Maybe I could say, you know, only then can she reunite her people, and I don't know, do what? Restore faith in her crown? I don't know. And restore the kingdom. Restore the kingdom Gudranus has shattered? I don't know. Alright, so this should put me at around like, okay, 81. That's decent. Anything shorter than 200 is good. I usually aim for like 150. If I go over that a little bit, it's okay, but I never want to go over 200. You have so little time to capture a reader's attention. So I still need to stitch this together better. So, trapped at the enemy's mercy, Zaid is fighting for his life. I feel like that's really cliche, and I don't really want to use it. Zaid, even saying like fights to survive. Trapped at the enemy's mercy, Zaid fights to survive. Maybe beneath Gudranus's merciless rule. That's stupid. No. I can't say merciless because I already have mercy. So we'll say fights to survive beneath Gudranus's rule. But why? Until Tries to survive beneath Genesis rule, and then the next most important thing is the part where he's, trying to fight from the inside. So I'm going to move that up here and see if I can do something with it. I'm gonna keep this for sure. I think I like this. Until offer is made, the offer of power. So gonna put that back together. This part I'm really struggling with. Everything all together is 138 words right now. So I can go up, like if I add another like 50 words, which all of this is going to get rewritten into actual sentences, and that'll probably put me pretty close to the 200 mark. So then from there we go to the blade bearer has fallen, and with him so has the capital. Now without the power of the legendary blade or the hand meant to wield it, Lark is forced to take charge of the crumbling kingdom and leave her captured friend behind. With Amarok's army scattered and her magic yet to awaken, her only hope is to earn the right to wield the Spectrum Blade and become the new blade bearer herself. Actually, I feel like maybe that's strong enough on its own. I'm not sure that I even need this line here, so I'm going to take that out. I'm going to drop that down here in the trash bin. Trash bin for bad words. Not bad words. They're not bad words. I don't use those when I write. For unneeded words. This is going to be the stupidest video. I am so sorry. So I think this is actually fairly solid, this first part. It's just everything in the middle that I need help with. And then this is going to be like Paragon of Shadow is book 5 of Spectrum Legacy. Fancy series you should read or something like that. Oh my goodness. Alright, trapped at the enemy's mercy. Zaid fights to survive. Actually, maybe it would be better if I kind of focus on his hopelessness here. He fights to survive, not because he hopes he'll be rescued, but because he has lost hope that he'll be rescued. Fights to survive, and fights to survive knowing he has no chance, or knowing there is no chance of rescue. His only way out is to escape, or only escape is his only way out. Or how about we pull that together with the offer? His only chance of escape is cooperation? Cooperate with his captors. Knowing there's no chance of rescue. I think emphasizing, he knows there's no chance of rescue while Gudranus holds Amarok, and that gives back a little bit of that hope that if they can figure out how to reclaim the city, then maybe somebody can save him. And then, that kind of like segues into his only chance of escape is to cooperate with his captors. An arrangement that offers more risks than what? Relief? We'll go with that for now. So he fights to survive knowing there's no chance of rescue while Gudranus holds Amarok. His only chance of escape is to cooperate with his captors, an arrangement that offers more risks than relief. But when I hate using that line, and I need to figure out how to get around it. I do not like the when statements in blurbs. And That's a personal thing. I see so many blurbs that use it and they use it effectively. But I feel like avoiding, saying, but when it's a big challenge for me. And it really pushes me to write something a lot stronger in the end. I've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes to work this into something. Okay, actually, I got this, kind of. An arrangement that holds more risks than relief. I'm going to use the but when for now. Basically, but when the enemy offers power, I don't like that word there. That line that I just removed, the until the offer is made. Risks and relief until the offer is made. Maybe I can put that there. Here I could focus on the villain seeing potential in Zaid. I'm not really sure. Let's see. So really what happens at this point is like, if Zaid gives up the fight and joins the enemy, power beyond anything he ever hoped for could be his. This is kind of like the perfect opportunity to fight from the inside. But any misstep could prove fatal. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. 184 words. So it needs to be no longer than this. Maybe I'll do the terrible ellipsis there. Until the offer is made. His only chance of escape is to cooperate with his captors, an arrangement that offers more risk than relief until the offer is made. If Zaid gives up the fight and joins the enemy, power beyond anything he hoped for could be his. Let's see. The power he is entrusted with could be a secret to saving everyone he holds dear. That's a little bit inaccurate because at this point in time he's really only imprisoned with like a couple soldiers that he knows and is friends with. But like overarching, he sees that it's like, if I do this, then it gives me the opportunity to fight from the inside and give my people a chance. Okay, Zaid gives up the fight and joins the enemy. The power he's entrusted with could be the secret to saving everyone he holds dear. But any misstep could prove fatal. The shadowy forces attempt and as the shadow. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. All right, that dropped all the way down to 165. So I can totally put these together and just make this like one paragraph. But I think this being on its own is smarter. Zaid gives up the fight. So I need to rework this though, because it's like his only chance of escape is to cooperate with his captors. So I need to make this seem more tantalizing. His only chance of escape is to cooperate with his captors, an arrangement that offers more risk than relief until the offer is made. If Zaid gives up the fight and joins the enemy, the power he's entrusted with could be the secret to saving everyone he holds dear. Maybe it works. Maybe if I change this to his only chance of survival, maybe I can change this survival to something else. Maybe this, Zaid fights to... Well, no, survival is probably the best word there. I need a better word here. His only chance... Trapped at the enemy's mercy, Zaid fights to survive, knowing there's no chance of rescue while Gudranus holds Amroken. But his position within the city grants the opportunity to aid his people from within. That's not quite... That doesn't really resolve this. Position... Maybe remove this. His position within the city, but even within the dungeon, his place in the dungeon grants him what? It grants him, it's his place within the dungeon, grants him a vantage point. That's not quite the right word. Maybe just the ability. The ability to help his people from within. And we're still stuck on this survival. Maybe I'll remove that. I'll remove this, and then we've got, okay. So I remove the part of his only chance of survival is to cooperate with his captors. Oh no, I'm out of time. All right, I'm gonna read through this. This is how far I got in my my like 30-40 minutes here. Okay, the blade bearer has fallen, and with him so has the capital. Now without the power of the legendary blade or the hand meant to wield it, Lark is forced to take charge of the crumbling kingdom and leave her captured friend behind. With Amarok's armies scattered and her magic yet to awaken, her only hope is to earn the right to wield the Spectrum Blade and become the new blade bearer herself. Trapped at the enemy's mercy, Zaid fights to survive, knowing there is no chance of rescue while Gudranus holds Amarokan. His place in the dungeon grants him the ability to help his people from within, an arrangement that offers more risks than relief, until the offer is made. If Zaid gives up the fight and joins the enemy, the power he's entrusted with could be the secret to saving everyone he holds dear. But any misstep could prove fatal, and as the shadowy forces that tempt his soul grow, the line he walks grows thinner by the moment. Hey, I think that's actually not too bad. All right, well, I'm gonna sit on this. I'm gonna let this bake for a bit and go pick up my daughter from school, and then we'll see. I guess I'll come back to this and hopefully have a polished version of this soon. Okay, so it's been like an hour. I am back briefly, and there was one thing that I decided to change on this, and that is right here is, his place in the dungeon. I decided after thinking on it for a while that I don't think the word dungeon here is actually very strong. We already have it established that he has been captured, so we already know he's imprisoned, and he obviously doesn't stay in the dungeon or we wouldn't have much of a story. He's actually kind of in and out. So I think changing this from his place in the dungeon to his place inside enemy lines ultimately makes it more impactful, because this, inside enemy lines versus in a dungeon is a lot more action oriented. It's a term that's a lot more descriptive of his actual situation, because while it's true that he does end up in the dungeon for a while, he also is, constantly battling the threat of death. So I think that is the only change that I'm going to make. I'll grab the tagline for the bottom here that I use for every other book. I don't have it memorized, but I'll just like copy and paste it and update, like title and number. But I think this is where we ended up. So yeah, that was a fun exercise, and I appreciate you joining me. Hopefully you found watching me fumble around and try to come up with something to be interesting to watch. Across the next couple of weeks, I am going to be editing this book and getting it ready for publication in November. So if you want to see more about me getting this book published, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye.